It's a blessing and a curse to have the, I say, mental acumen that you receive at OVW because of the way the business is today, where, you know, people, they have no concept of what a standard is. I'm 16 at an independent wrestling show. I meet Kowalski. He agrees to train me at 16. Okay, fine. So now I go, I'm living in this kind of dual existence. Right before I debuted on SmackDown is when Vince said the term intellectual savior of the masses. So I'm like, all right, I guess I have to be smart. So, okay, fine. Figure out how to be smart and go do it. Any momentum I had was stopped by The Office. You look at how the Mizdow stuff ended. You look at how the Sandow stuff ended. We say the wheel is still around. Yeah, Carney, what can I get from you and how little can I give you? Wrestling used to be a secret society. Now it's a public pool.
Hey yo, welcome to LiMPiN AiNT, the only show that features pro wrestling's best, past, present, and future, but is more human interest than it is pro wrestling. Why? Because we take you into the emotions, the indomitability of the human spirit, that which is required to suffer and endure the ups and downs, highs and lows that one experiences when chasing their dream to get their name in the bright lights up on the marquee. I am your handy captivating host with the most healthy fear and hatred for his mortal enemy, the dreaded Black Ice. My name is Timmy Baltimore. Hey, I want to thank you guys for hopping on the short bus and taking the ride with us, making LiMPiN AiNT a part of your entertainment week. If you haven't already, please click like, click subscribe, comment on our content, go to the handle at Timmy Baltimore on all social media platforms. This thing can get as big as we want it. Wheels on the short bus go round and round, but it's up to you to keep it moving. Silence! Because today's episode of the program is going to be educational. Dare I say, enlightening. Because our guest, he's the intellectual savior of the masses. And before he graduated high school, okay, he was training under the legendary Hall of Famer, Killer Kowalski. I mean, he practically grew up within the WWE's developmental system. And after years of being in that program and a few attempts of trying to break through to that main roster of WWE, to get on the road, to get on Raw, SmackDown, and such, unfortunately, circumstances were not in his favor. He had a few opportunities, they didn't pan out, so he was released. And like so many talent at that time, he was young, he was released, wrestling was all he knew, and you'd think that having years of experience under the WWE learning tree, you could take those skills and apply them anywhere. And unfortunately, more often than not, a lot of these young talent were let go, and their identity was so wrapped up within that system that when they were fired, they felt like failures, like their dreams had gone up in flames. And I'm sure that our guest today felt that to some extent, but it ain't getting knocked down. It's the getting up from getting knocked down. And he did not go quietly into that good night. No, he went and applied those skills elsewhere. And after a few years passed, WWE picked him back up because he was wiser, more experienced, a better performer. And guess what? His second act was huge. He became one of the most memorable characters of that period of time within WWE, circa like 2012 and on a little bit, right in that 2-3 year window there. And he did so because of one very important skill. In fact, probably the most important skill any wrestler can have. Because no matter how many times the rug was pulled out from under him, he always was able to reinvent himself and apply that oh so crucial skill. He was able to get over. Today, he is a big part of William Patrick Corgan's National Wrestling Alliance, the NWA. You can catch him Saturday, May 17th. That's this Saturday at the old ECW Arena for NWA's Crockett Cup. You may remember him as Idol Stevens. You may remember him as Sir Money in the Bank. You may remember him even as the wildly popular, against all odds, Miz's stunt double, the hilarious Mizdow. You've probably seen him on Netflix show Heels, also on the hit Netflix sketch comedy series, I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. That one's a good one. He is, as I said, the intellectual savior of the masses. My good friend, the former Damien Sandow, Aron Stevens. Welcome to LiMPiN AiNT. My name is Timmy Baltimore. I am joined by an old friend, a man I've known, gosh, I feel like since we were kids, and we might have been, our early mid-20s. When I met him, he was Aron the Idol Stevens. You may know him more famously as Damien Sandow. You're welcome. He's just Aron. Aron, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm great, Timmy. How are you? And I am honored that you reached it. Dude, it's so good to talk to you again. My God, it's been too long.
It really has. Like, I think about when I started and came to OVW, you were an established guy. You were one of the guys. You were one of the golden boys, seriously, like out of a crop of very charismatic, dynamic, destined for greatness personalities. You were at the top of the heap. And then I learned, like, we were the same age. I had no idea. You're currently kind of, have your toes dipped in a lot of things, correct, Aron?
Yes, it's weird because it's funny, right? That time we were all just so focused on wrestling, and we were in the right place. It's funny when we talk about that time period in OVW and with some of the kids in NWA right now that I'll kind of help out as much as I can. There's this there's a mystique about it, I think, that people have. And, I'll give you an example. Mondo, we brought Mondo in. I knew right away, I'm like, okay, Mondo's going to get himself a job because, again, and it's a blessing and a curse to have the, I say, mental acumen that you receive at OVW because of the way the business is today, where, people, they have no concept of what a standard is. And, we live in a world today, and I'm going to get off subject here, but I'm sure we'll get back on it. The Instagram and, it glorifies backyard wrestling, and any guy with a promoter's license and a pair of tights thinks that they know what they're doing, and they do not. And I was, when I left WWE, I did some TNA stuff, and then kind of just did my own thing in LA for a while. And I was just completely, for about 5-6 years, I didn't think about wrestling. And then, of course, the NWA thing came back, and it was really, that's been a blessing in my life, and for a number of reasons. And the thing that irked me the most is people, that think, oh, this person's good enough to put on TV, when the reality is they're barely good enough to be in wrestling school. And, I make the equation, right? Wrestling used to be a secret society. Now it's a public pool. And I'm all for everyone pursuing their dream. Right. I'm all for people doing what they do. But, it's crazy, right? Like, if you're a basketball player, maybe you're not going to go to the NBA. and it's okay, right? And everyone can kind of find where they go, and there's different levels in this for everybody. But the arrogance of some of the younger talent, and I'm not all. There are some, and I'll say this: I don't want to be that grizzled, bitter human, because there's good and bad in everything, right?
Sure.
There's 3 kids in NWA that like they're my kids, and I never thought I'd say that, right? I refuse to be an agent. You know, I told Billy I'm too young and handsome to be an agent. We're not going to do that because it is a thankless job.
Yes.
But if you need someone to put a match together and help out and be in the truck, I'll do that. But I ain't an agent, right? So I have this weird kind of like it's like the joke where I'm like the CIA, where I operate secretly in a number of different branches of the NWA, and it's kind of fun that way. But it's also
all off the books.
Exactly. But like in doing that, you know, when you find a young talent that just wants to learn, and it means the world to me, because it's like, oh, wait a minute, you're not like these other idiots. So I will do, and you can ask them this, right? Like everything in my power to help them. I will never go to the boss and say, you should book them this way, you should book them that way. But I will tell them how to get over, right? Because getting over, it's a lost art in a lot of ways, right? Like, I mean, there are some people that do it, but like getting over and staying over, they're 2 very different things, right? To where, look, I can look at in objectively my linear push in WWE. I say that in quotations. I didn't have the wide lens. You would have seen it. So the producer was right. Like any momentum I had was stopped by The Office. Right? Like I was the number 1 heel selling T-shirt, number 3 overall in the company, and they yanked my merchandise from live events. You know what I mean? There's things like that. You look at how the Mizdow stuff ended. You look at how the Sandow stuff ended. So, you know, if people want to say anything like, oh, you're this or that, no, because you know what, at NWA, I can still go over within 30 seconds in a live microphone anywhere we are in the country, have that place shaking.
Yeah.
And fine, right? Like it's cool. And it's also cool to be able to kind of teach how to do that to the people that are ready to hear it. And, you know, again, I'll give them resounding endorsements. Carson Drake and a tag team called the Slime Balls. They are shining examples of like how to be a student. Because I also, you know, and again, I hate you need to do that. You guys are going too fast. You guys are no. You explain to them why, and I go, any questions you guys have, you ask me. And if you go out there and do what I tell you to do, how I tell you to do it, if it doesn't work, I will be the first one to say it doesn't work, because I hold myself to that same standard, right? And it's holding myself to the same standard as a teacher, which again, I don't mess with a lot of people. I'm not sure you can say F on here, but
sure, you can.
Yeah, so I don't fuck with a lot of people, because someone asks me for advice, I give it to them, and then they don't do it. And it's not like oh, you're this or that. No, I'm just like,
you don't have the bandwidth, right?
No, like, I mean, and again, still be nice, still be respectful,
sure,
right? Still like be kind, but
yeah, one shot.
At a certain point, I'm not going to tell you this stuff. And again, that's the sad part, because if more people were truly willing to listen and apply, again, from the ones that know what they're doing, right? I think the business would be better. But when you find those kind of, and they're gems that you just see like, okay, like you are going to be something special. And it ain't just because of your in-ring work and your look and all the other things that go into it, right? Because if you look at let's be honest, you look at OVW 2003.
Wow.
Man, any of us walked into a bar, you're at least going to think twice about swinging at us.
Head turners.
You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
You look at the business now, it's not like that. And okay, right? Like, I get it. You know, if you look at in the 80s, they made all of us look small. Right?
Right.
And that's okay, right? Like, it is what it is. So, okay, if the business is going this way for whatever reason, right, or going in a certain direction, fine. Like, we cannot fight that. You have to keep up with the times. Like, you have to stay cutting edge. You have to, understand what the audience wants, understand who the audience is, and then go from there and make your adjustments. But, look, on the first ever car that Henry Ford made, the wheel was round. And on the cars that are coming off the line today, the wheels are still round. And that's what propels the car forward. So that is pretty much the best analogy I can come up with, to kind of, given the current state of the business as I see it. And, let's go back to Mondo. He shows up there, jacked, tan, and again, zero wasted movement, completely like still an OVW. And that's the kind of stuff that gets noticed no matter who you are, no matter what kind of a wrestling fan you are. Another example is funny. Rodney Mack, where like we work together a lot, right? I'm a manager and stuff. Him and I can just look at each other and like, okay, here's another one. Marche Rocket.
Okay.
Marche Rocket worked with Rodney and I a lot. Works with us a lot. And in 2 years, that kid has become into something that like he's money. He has the psychology of this. He has how to act like how to be a professional, right? And I often say, right, the difference between pros and everyone else, pros are brilliant at the basics, not good, brilliant. If the top rope breaks, what are you going to do? Are you going to panic, or are you going to make it continue to look believable, if you can make it look believable in the first place, and continue to tell the story? When you put a match together, does it take you an hour to put a 6-minute match together? If the answer is yes, you ain't a pro. Sorry. Look, athletically, there's never been a time in our business that the athleticism has been higher. And that is great. That's awesome. It's amazing, right?
Right.
I just think sometimes the athleticism, which is instant gratification, you get the holy shit chant, but then on the finish of the match, fans are just like, oh, whatever. And they're not interested, right? Where when the 1, 2, 3 happens, that's when you want the place to erupt, and I think a lot of the performers I you know what? I don't know. Cause you know what? I'm not in these other companies. So I'm not going
to. But you
to
see what you see.
And I just sometimes think that they're more concerned about getting their move in so they can get, 10,000 likes or how many thousand likes on Instagram. Here's a perfect example. About a year ago, I was flipping through the channels and Jeff Jarrett was in there with some giant dude and 2 other guys. They were having a tag match. No flips, nothing fancy, but the crowd was going nuts. And however you want to view Jeff Jarrett, the man knows how to work. The man is a master of psychology. And that is what the business needs more of, in my opinion.
It's almost like technology, Aaron. Like the further we progress, the dumber we get. Like the athleticism's out of this world, but there's absolutely no connection to it. It's almost like they forgot who they're working for. You're working for the audience,
Absolutely.
not yourself, and not
Absolutely.
the boys in the back.
Absolutely. And again, shining example, MJF gets it. You can tell. You can tell that guy gets it. And there's some of the other ones. Again, they're shining stars. I tell you what, that kid Wardlow. I don't know if he's this generation's version of me. Where like, what did he do
right.
to not like that guy should be main eventing? And like. It's like, come on, you build a guy up like that. And then I don't know if it's lack of foresight or lack of just basic knowledge, but to not have a guy like Wardlow, because I've never heard anything bad about him behind the scenes. Come on, like just that guy's a star and you need to highlight him like one, in my opinion.
I couldn't agree more. I think When you said it's a blessing and a curse to have been where we've been and seen what we've seen with that era of WWE developmental and OVW. I mean, I think about like really how fortunate I was to be able to go somewhere without a contract, and if you busted your ass and you listened and you played your cards right and you worked hard, you had a chance. You
Yeah.
had a chance, and damn it, you would learn how to get over because they're not making any more Danny Davises or
Yeah.
Rip Rogers or Robert Gibsons or Al Snows. So it's or Novas or you know what I mean. So it's
Yeah.
like it's a crazy little perfect storm that existed for us. Aaron, I want to back up a little bit because I really think that your career is one of the most interesting as far as staying power, as far as figuring out the equation, but somehow bumping into that glass ceiling. Like what the hell? But you still you hung tough and bottom line is you know how to get over. So you can go apply your trade anywhere. You started when you were a teenager at Kowalski's, right?
Yes, sir.
What was what got you into wrestling, and then what did you find was the first kind of like adversity or speed bumps you encountered?
Well, I was 5 years old, lost one of those arcade games at a department store, and I got upset, and it was a wrestling game, and I said I was going to be a wrestler. So fast forward 11, 12 years later, I'm 16 at an independent wrestling show. I meet Kowalski. He agrees to train me at 16. Okay, fine. So now I go, I'm living in this kind of dual existence to where I'm going to a Catholic high school, and there's like friends and stuff like that, which I really didn't hang out with because I was so busy wrestling, right? And kind of when I still, I talked to one of my friends throughout high school today, which is weird. Like I have two civilian friends, if I'm being honest, that I grew up with. And in Louisville, I'm fortunate where I have friends all over, but like the boys are the boys, as we know, and as I tell Carson and the Slime Balls, just because you're in the business does not mean you're one of the boys. There's always an us and them. There's the people that get it and the people that don't. You know what I mean? And that is simply the way it is. And it was like that in Kowalski's. I was blessed to where I really did not see you get the tar beat out of you, but I'm 16 and I was literally in a world of men. Okay. You know what I mean? Fine. That's what I had to do. I mean, I remember my senior prom, my eyes, like the blood vessels behind my eyes, they broke as one of the guys put me in a hold and stuff and kind of broke the blood vessels behind my eyes. So my senior prom, I had to take pictures with sunglasses on. That's the I didn't die. Didn't break anything. It's just, that's what you had to do. That was the price you paid. And you know what? It was worth it. But, you think some of the people today, they would go through what I went through and they would post stories online about how they were being bullied and how, and look, bullying's wrong, right? Like we have an epidemic of online bullying and we've had tragedies about that, but it's like, you want to come into someone's house? Okay, prove yourself, right? Prove yourself. And it is what it is, right? And it doesn't exist anymore. And okay, fine. We got to move on. But again, the effect of that is a bunch of people that think that they're good, that think that they're over, and don't even know how to introduce themselves to people in the locker room. And it's like, at this level, it's fine. But if you ever want to get past a certain level, like etiquette, like, look, we've seen people's careers, Timmy, get ruined, right? Some careers never getting off the ground because of little things like that. And my thing now is like, I'm not going to be like, hey, man, you need to introduce yourself. No, I don't do that anymore because you know what? Let them. And it's natural selection to me. I give everyone the benefit of the doubt, and I give everyone multiple chances with me, right? But if you demonstrate certain character traits, doesn't mean you're a bad person. But it doesn't mean that I'm going to treat you the same way I treat someone that wants to learn, applies things, and is a good human being.
And that's a big part of this too, Aaron. Like, yeah, we're all, from the wrestling business, and us that are cut from a certain time and cloth, and where certain things weren't tolerated, and the locker room would take care of itself. And
Yeah.
if you were a problem, you would be iced out.
It was dealt
very
with
quickly. It was
dealt with. Yeah.
But you were also an honorable man. Like, at all the pirates on the pirate ship, I would be perfectly fine with having Aron Stevens over for my family with Thanksgiving. You were always like a gentleman.
Thank you. And back at you, Timmy. Thank you.
Yeah, and I think that's really important because, and maybe it's because starting so young, you learn to live the dual life. You learn that
everything's a work, right? Like,
right.
I mean, I made the dean's list. My average was like an A- in college, and I maybe bought 3 books my 4 years of college because and my senior year of high school, I mean, you talk, and I'm not trying to say like, look, it is what it is.
Yeah.
When you learn the human condition, wrestling's very good at teaching the human condition, like storytelling in the ring and that whole carny world, which I detest. But if you look at business is the same thing. The only difference between business and carny is businessmen manage to get out from under the rug of having to do carny things to the extent that they do. But we say the wheel is still round. Yeah, carny, what can I get from you and how little can I give you?
Yep.
Right? That's all it is.
That's it. Mm-hmm. But there's a respect that once, you're in the trenches with somebody and do business with them, right? And that's where the honor amongst thieves kind of comes into play.
Without a doubt.
And I really think that, we learned that the hard way in OVW. There was nobody that escaped unscathed without getting an ass chewing from Danny or Rip or, brought in front of everybody and was like, hey, asshole, here's the asshole.
Yes.
Yes. But it's good for you. It needs to happen.
It is. Growth does not happen comfortably.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to have growing pains. And, like you see a lot of these, just maybe try it this way. And, I really like to do it this way because it's my character. And it's like, anytime someone says, my character this, my character that, I'm like, look, do not talk to me about character. Like, I'll invent a character right now that will blow anything you have. And this is like what goes on inside my head, right?
Right.
Like, and okay, you know what? But I've learned that, I've learned several things. In kind of taking on the role I have in NWA. Number one, it's not nice to throw clipboards at people when you're mad at them. No, I'm kidding, of course. But number two, how you communicate with people. And when you understand people's nature, right? Like, this goes back to human nature, the human condition. Why are they in this? You can pretty much kind of govern all your choices regarding your interactions with them accordingly. Mm-hmm. And that's it. Again, so I don't view this as good or bad. And it's not like, I love seeing new young talent. I think it's great because they're the future of the business, right? No doubt. And it's a great thing. And again, some of their attitudes are less than stellar. Some of them are awesome. One to watch out for, Pretty Boy Smooth. He's doing big things up at ExodusPro, just kind of getting in the NWA. Dante Casanova, kid's a complete stud.
EC3's guys, right? I'm hearing a lot of good things about him.
Yeah, EC3, ExodusPro.
Represent.
I was fortunate enough to have him and Noah, who's his right-hand man, and Gary is too, kind of brought me in and said, just go do you. And that's okay. Started filming things, started doing this. And I tell you, for a company that develops television talent and gets people used to working things. WLW, same thing. They have TV. Trevor Murdoch's there, kind of watching over that. Him and Leland are great. And it's a good thing, man. And that's why you need reputable Dog Pound Championship Wrestling, right? I was talking to Roddy Mack, like him and Jazz, how they do things, how they cultivate the talent. These are the places that you need to go to learn how to do this, because the reality is, right, Timmy, if someone hasn't made money at this at the top level, right, on television, they cannot properly instruct you. And I'm not talking about 1 or 2 enhancement matches. I'm talking about, really made money at this. There is no way they can instruct you how to do it correctly. Bottom line. And some people may not like that, but I don't give a shit, because I'll put my skill set up against theirs any day. I'll put half my skill set up against theirs, right? As will Mondo. Joey Mercury, right? A guy like him. You look at any of us, right? Like a guy just that has come through that system, or a girl who's come through that system, there is a different standard. And it would be nice if we could get that standard across the business, but if not, it'd be nice if we could meet in the middle.
It would be like some sort of compromise here, because I feel like, and I think, you and I can look at each other and kind of get the vibe. I feel like the young people, a lot of them have thrown the baby out with the bathwater when it comes to the vets and old timers. They think, because they used to shoot at road signs and drink beer and raise hell, that's toxic. I don't need that in my life. Hey, dumbass. Like, they also drew millions of dollars and can go anywhere in the world and get over with a look, with a breath.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why are we not utilizing that?
Yeah. People are stupid.
People are stupid.
No, a lot of people are stupid, right? Again, I just, and I'm a pragmatist, and I always have been, where simply like, okay, and I use it like this. If I teach someone, and there's, I've been blessed to work with Colby Carino, wonderful talent. Love Colby. And again, I tell him the same thing, go and apply. Right? Because when I'm close with someone, I never suggest things to the boss about them. Right?
Right.
I leave the booking to the bookers. Right? But when they go and they do and they apply, and they are the #1 merchandise sellers in the company, let that speak for itself. Yeah. Because, look, if I tell someone to do something, it is 100% battle tested and proven.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much your ass. That's where the conversation ends. Right? Like, that's just that's kind of how I do it, And again, I encourage people, if they want to join wrestling, yes, get your body in shape, find a reputable school with a instructor that has made money somewhere, right? And go and learn. OVW is great. Booker T's school, like places like that are available. Why would you go anywhere else?
They have a line right
about this. Yeah. Why would you go anywhere else?
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I know in seeing your journey, Aron, and I think, again, there may be some misconceptions or just lack of knowledge of how long you've been involved, what you've gone through, and literally the mountains you've had to climb. Like, you've lived 5, 6, 7, maybe more different lives, it feels like.
Way more than
friend looking at you. Right. Like, so I remember, like, when you come to OVW, you're signed. You're how old were you when you signed?
22.
22. Yeah. 22. You a year past being able to buy a drink.
Yeah.
And you were with a publicly traded biggest company in the world. Mm-hmm. And do you think that your age was a blessing or a hindrance when you look back?
on one side a blessing, on another side I wish I would have learned more life lessons. I had it very easy for the first 5 years. I was Kowalski's boy. Then once Dr. Tom saw me, he took me under his wing. And I really didn't know a lot of the hard lessons in life that you have to learn. And, when John took over, I just wasn't John's guy initially, right? And okay, fine. So I was like, moved back of the line to where the guys he wanted to get on TV to make him look good, which is cool, right? That's the way business works. And I took a lot of things personally, and I shouldn't have. And I've now learned to kind of not take things personally as much. And that's a lesson that I wish I would have learned earlier. And I had to kind of just, like live and learn them that way. But the good thing about learning lessons that way is you don't forget them. So.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always say that too. I go, I started to enjoy wrestling again the minute I stopped taking it personally.
Yeah.
The minute it's just business. It's not. It's not an attack on me or my person or what I've been through. Right.
Yeah.
I remember that shift, and I hope I'm not getting uncomfortable here, but there was a shift where you were the guy in OVW, and then it was like you said, it was kind of back of the line. Yeah. And it's no secret that you're very close with Mike Bucci, Nova, Simon Dean in WWE, and he became the liaison in talent relations. The people that knew you and loved you didn't give a shit. Like that was Aron, right? Like they knew, but there was, I'm sure, some people that are going, oh, there's Nova's boy. Did you feel that at the time, and how did you react to that personally?
Well, to a degree, yeah. I mean, I did, and it was like, okay, they thought I was Nova's boy, and here's the flip side of me, though. Nova and I are two very different people, and I remember at one point someone thought I'd stooged something off to the office, and I was like, you obviously don't know me very well. Like, I myself am a criminal, right? Or at least I was at the time. And trust me, I don't. No. I know nothing. I see nothing. Right.
Yep.
Yeah, like that was what it was. But again, I had to deal with it, and I knew in my heart who I was, and the people that knew me, right, were okay. Those are the people that matter to me. Those are the people I choose to kind of bring into my circle. So then who cares? Yeah, no.
Right. Did you, there was a real, it felt like almost a pattern of young guys kind of getting mind fucked because 20 different people telling them 20 different things. Did you feel that pressure at your first run in WWE and developmental?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just, again, unnecessary, I thought. Because like anything, right? And I do my best to kind of curb that in NWA. You go to the boss. What would you like to see from this person? I'd like to see X, Y, and Z. Great. We're not going to do D, E, and F. Okay? No. Simple. You know what I mean? And people, they will call me, oh, you're very smart at this. I'm like, no, I'm a simpleton. But that's what works here. Like it's very, very basic, and cut out a lot of the BS, trim the fat, and just go and do it that way because it saves time, really. And it does nothing but hurt the talent when they have 20 different people telling them what to do. Because it's so funny. Everyone wants to be creative. Everyone wants, oh, your character, you should do this, you should do that. Great. And just because people have the ability to be creative doesn't mean their creation is good or is right or will work. Right. That's the reality, right? Hey, I want to play in the NBA. Probably ain't going to happen in this life. Right? No, but let's call it what it is.
Yeah, true.
Okay, so what? Move on, right? Like,
right.
And again, we're serving a bigger machine. Keep that in mind, right? And keeping that in mind, it makes the job a lot easier.
Your first taste up on TV and on the road was with the legendary Casey James.
Oh God, yeah, yeah.
A real odd couple. Two of my favorite people, but very odd couple.
Yeah, but you know what? We had no choice. Okay, let's go do this. And we were never given really anything from the office. They never really invested in us. I mean, that was Dusty trying to get both of us on the road.
Right.
And you know, testament to Dusty. Kudos to Dusty. Another guy instrumental in my career. But it was what it was. We had excellent matches, and you know, got a pay-per-view or two out of it, and then that was it. Okay, fine. You know, like that's, you know, we were never like super tight. I mean, we rode together and stuff, but it was always like business with us. Not that we disliked each other.
Sure.
You know, again, Casey was great, but we were just two very different personalities, and it was what it was. And we made it work. And you know what? If Casey didn't have his shit together in the ring, it wouldn't have worked like it did. You know?
Right. Right. That's what I mean. It was two of the, if not the best workers. Just you know, but again, there was no grand scheme, no grand plan, and it's so hard. You know, they say, what do they say? They say, you know, good talent can't overcome bad booking. It's just can't. So the progress goes that you leave WWE, you let go, you go to Puerto Rico.
Yep.
You keep applying your craft, because what have you done here, Aron? You know how to get over.
Yeah.
So yes. Take it anywhere. Any crazy Puerto Rican stories you want to share from the island? Or?
So there was a neighborhood boss, shall we say, in the housing projects that decided to throw a show. Contacted me for third-party booking. The ring was set up in an intersection, so they themselves shut the streets down. The cops were there eating the food trucks. There was zero security. Kids were around the ring. I changed in this guy's house. Come to the ring, and I'm on TV twice a week, you know, yelling at Puerto Rico and saying America's better. They don't like me. And again, it's the housing project, so the streets are full, and there's like 5 or 6 stories high. People are hanging off the balconies. It was just crazy, right? It was like one of those scenes where cars turn their lights on to light the ring. I'm not kidding. So, like, I just remember again, like there's kids around the ring, people like sitting on the cars, and then just people everywhere. And I feel like a rock go by my head. I went, oh shit, this ain't good. And I feel another one. I'm like, I'm probably in danger. So my guardian angel told me to get on the middle rope with my ass facing the crowd and moon them. So they threw everything they had. I did it to one side, did it to the other side. Couldn't sit down for about a week, but they had thrown the majority of things that there were to throw. So it kind of better protected me. I gave them a target. And you know what? Better get hit in the ass than the head. So there we go.
What? I'm sorry. If ever there were an example of being a brilliant worker and taking what you got, what's presented to you, and making it work.
Yeah.
Holy God. Yeah, bet you may have ended up dead had you not.
Who knows?
Shown your ass. That is a great story. Holy crap. I love that one. I've heard that before. And I mean, just brilliant. And thank God you didn't panic under those circumstances.
Yeah.
A lot of people would have been fed up at this point, Aron. You've been doing it since you were a kid. You went to prom with blood vessels burst behind your eyes because a veteran wanted to toughen you up. You know, were on top of the world for a while early on, and then had the carpet pulled out from under you. You had batteries thrown at your ass in Puerto Rico. Some people would say enough's enough. Like that'll do. You didn't. I don't know if you knew this, but the best was yet to come.
Yeah, there was just always something inside me. Like I had more to do. So that's, I guess, what kept me going, right? Whether it's subconscious or higher self or whatever you call it. So yeah, I just kept going, right? Kept going until I decided I had enough. And I was in Hawaii filming an episode of Magnum PI. Billy Corgan called me, said, I've bought the NWA and we're going to start. I'm like, nah. He goes, you have a plane ticket, just come. I walked into the first set of tapings in Georgia and it looked just like Georgia Championship or, the old studio. And I went, oh, okay. And we had a hell of a show. And, that first run of NWA Power was great. And like anything else, the shows had ups and downs. But like right now, where the company's really kind of shifting and gearing up to go to the next level, you're seeing that in our product and stuff. And it's like we're simmering and we're kind of getting the pieces in place. And, the kind of wrestling we believe in, we believe that there's an alternative out there to where what you're seeing. We're not trying to be diet WWE. We want to do wrestling our way and tell stories our way. So that's something, to Billy's credit, I just respect him immensely. And, as a boss, I couldn't ask for a better one. Like we very much like share a lot of the same principles of this.
Right.
Which is cool. And, Pat Kenny's another one who Pat has been, because I've never really had like a mentor, oddly enough. Right.
Yeah, that is odd.
Like, no one's ever said like, hey, I'm going to help you out like this. Right. I always just kind of go out there, did my thing, and that was it. But, Pat, especially in the behind the scenes stuff, has truly kind of shared a lot with me. And I'm grateful to him, Simon Diamond from ECW. And yeah, that's something I'm again, just very grateful to, and I appreciate.
Yeah. Yeah. So I also think I think that's so cool that you found, NWA is kind of like, it resembles an OVW when I visited there. Sometimes. Yeah. Before you went to NWA and before the burnout and everything was the Sandow run.
Mm-hmm.
How did that? Because I know a lot of your background. There was a lot of inspiration, it seemed like, from the people that taught you, the Rip Rogers.
Yeah.
So much of that in the character. Do you remember how that came about, and what if you encountered any pushback early on, or what you had to overcome to get to the point where it was ready for TV and you debuted?
No, it's weird the way that character came together. I was wearing pink tights just to kind of pop myself on the FCW house shows. Started wearing them on TV. All right, they're getting heat. Ty Bailey,
wow,
whom God,
haven't heard that in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to bring it up again. Like, you know what? We want you to get over. Like, what do I have to do, Ty? Right? He was the liaison between WWE and developmental. Well, we want you to get over, and we want you to be a champion. I'm like, I'm the FCW 15-minute Iron Man champion right now. Like, you know what I mean? And just disconnects. And Dusty got kind of mad. He was like, you know what? And he said I was bland.
Oh, Ty Bailey said you were bland.
Yeah. So I'm like, right there, I'm like, okay. Well, Dusty got upset. Right, said, we're going to give bland, get a blue robe. Okay. So I had a robe made. And then that was like, I'd reveal the pink and everything. And then the character just kind of came about. And then like right before I debuted on SmackDown is when Vince said the term intellectual savior of the masses. So I'm like, all right, I guess I have to be smart. So, okay, fine. Figure out how to be smart and go do it. So that's it. You know what I mean? That's just the character came together very, very easily. It was the pushback started when it worked a little too well. Yeah.
Funny how that happens.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, right?
Like, that's exactly like whatever. Who cares? At this point, I don't give a shit. Was what it was.
You did create a lot of. I'm sure you get a lot of fans come up to you and say how much they enjoyed the character.
Mm-hmm.
You really did make some magic, Aaron.
Oh,
especially, you were chronically underestimated, I feel like, a lot of times. And you really shoved that up a lot of people's ass, so to speak.
Yeah.
And what I can picture Dusty getting hot about that. What was the relationship with him as far as your time in FCW?
Very good.
Good.
Very good. Nothing bad to say about him.
Yeah.
Or anyone. Steve Kern, Norman. I mean, we were very, very blessed to have those trainers.
Yeah. Yeah. No doubt.
You know, Dr. Tom.
Yeah. That whole crew was pretty.
Yeah.
We've been really fortunate in that sense. Do you look back on that time in WWE and like, is there a bad taste in your mouth? It was what it was. How do you feel? Because you seem kind of like curt about it.
Yeah, I'm just neutral. It's like, okay, cool. It was what it was. It was awesome. And like I don't know if we have time on this podcast, but like when I left wrestling, man, there was a whole nother set of life adventures when I was living in Malibu that, like I thought my life was weird before, but then it got interesting there. And like I've been able to just meet a lot of people. And, I always have this weird ability to somehow, when the time's right, meet the right person at the right time. And, and like a lot of those connections have served me well and stuff. And, just kind of keep moving, just keep moving, keep on track. Right. And I'm one of those people that, much like in WWE, where I will not sell my soul for a job.
Right.
And has that cost me in a lot of ways? Yeah. Financially, but at the end of the day, I can look at myself in the mirror and you know what? I just value that more than the other stuff because I see how some of those people end up and I don't want to be like that.
Right. Right. Yeah. One of my other favorite things about you, Aron, is you always had appreciation for the oddities of the world.
Oh, that's what makes life interesting.
You always had like somebody or something you're interested in.
It's what makes life interesting.
You loved Kenny Bolin. Kenny Bolin was a close friend of yours. Nobody really traveled with Kenny. They were always afraid of getting swindled. You loved Kenny.
He was Boss Hog.
But do you remember?
Yes,
John Cena released My Life and he released Our Life.
Yes. Oh, I mean, you can't make that up. You cannot make that stuff up.
Oh my Lord. Jeez.
I mean, like that to me is just, that's a perfect example of him. But like, my God, I mean, that is kind of like, and we talk, okay, like a lot of the Carney stuff, I don't like it when people's careers get hurt.
Sure.
And, they get swindled out of money and this and that. But like the observation of how some of these people live and just view the world, I find fascinating. And, in Kenny's case, there was some of it that was very endearing. Like this is just who this guy is. Okay, great.
If it's harmless and like a hilarious personality trait, I'm all for it, right? Because it keeps things interesting.
Yes, absolutely.
Who was the guy in E-Town? Why his name?
Hollywood Dale Duncan.
Hollywood Dale Duncan. Just Fascination.
Fascination and medication, because he was on it.
I'll always remember you having a very a fondness and a kindness for these fascinating characters. And
we shot some angles with Hollywood too. We sold E-Town out with Hollywood several times.
Mark Henry and Clown Paint. Oh my God,
dude!
Shows were hot.
It was, man. It was so much fun.
So the wrestling's just a chapter of your life. Before we went on the air, we were talking about your foray into the world of acting. Can you tell me how you came into that world and what does it compare to wrestling as far as any obstacles or?
Yeah, like I said, the whole thing, to really get to a certain point, at least in my experience, and I'm not saying this is everywhere, but like you gotta, I don't want to say you have to compromise. I was going to have to compromise my personal values, and that's not something that I wanted to do. Still managed to, get, actually good work here and there on several TV shows and things like that. Of course, the thing with Tim Robinson, the pay it forward thing, which I was just like shot that in like a day or two, and then for some reason it like went viral and then won the Emmy, and I was like, okay, and then my career starts to take off, and there's a strike. It's like the whole thing. So I'm just, when things come my way now, great. Because I'm not like, for me to play the game and start kowtowing and buying people coffee and kissing their ass for the potential of a role is simply not my idea of a good time. And you know what I mean, man, I try to be friendly, respectful, nice, kind, do the best I can. But I'm sorry if you're the kind of person that you gotta do sideways shit, you can go sideways because I'm gonna stay on my straight and narrow. That's just who I am.
And you've been through too much. Like you've been through too much. I feel like coming from the world of wrestling, either you're cut from that cloth where you're able to do that easily, or it's just not. It's just not.
You're right.
For you.
You're right. That's it.
The role on Heels, which is the show that was on Stars, the drama about the family full of wrestlers. It was 2 seasons. Now it's on Netflix, and is there talk of a renewal?
There is. People are pushing. Fingers are crossed. We're hoping.
How was production on that? How was the filming? Was it
amazing? Mike O'Malley, top notch. Just so many great people that worked on that show, from the directors to the stunt coordinators, the stunt people. Artie was great. Luke Hawks was phenomenal. The best experience I've had on a show, bar none.
Do you see that, or do you find that the Hollywood people are impressed with people from the business, from wrestling?
It varies. You know what I mean? Completely varies who they are. Where again, like I'm not gonna say, "Oh, I used to be a wrestler and I have more action figures than anybody." No, I'm in their world, right? So when I'm in their sandbox, I'm going to play by their rules, right? I'm going to study acting, do the best I can, and just move forward. And that's it. Let that speak for itself. That's all. You know what I mean? I'm pretty simple when it comes to stuff like that. And again, it's putting everything you have into it. And just when that red light's on, you got to bring it. Bottom line.
What do you, as far as the vision for NWA, and you're talking about your Billy's kind of seeing eye to eye and having a forward vision of putting the pieces in place. What is that? I don't want to say the end game, because there is no end game. It's ongoing. But what do you see that looking like as far as forward progress? What would you like to see?
Well, again, when we talk about forward progress, right? A true leader does not see what's right in front of them. They see what's right in front of them and what's down the road. Trends in the industry, where is it going? How are people consuming entertainment? All these things factor into it. And, to present a true alternative while remaining true to the values of traditional pro wrestling. Right? The technology has changed. The human condition has not. And for us to be able to tell our stories the way we want them to and present them in a way that is, easily consumable to the audience and fun to watch, that's what the goal is.
Do you find when you take the NWA product from like the Chase in St. Louis to the old ECW arena, totally different audience, totally different fan base?
Yeah.
Do you find, though, that they come with the understanding and expectation and love for the same for the NWA, or is it a different vibe?
No, It is a different vibe. And perfect example, by the way, May 17th, Crockett Cup, we're returning to 2300 ECW Arena. First time we were there was an anniversary and sold out. People left the building smiling and saying, we've never seen a wrestling show like that.
Very cool.
That's all we need. Okay, good. We've done our job. We'll come back.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you look at the NWA as sort of a second, almost coming home?
Yes, it's the only company, if I'm being very honest, the only company I've truly felt at home at, that I can be me. Completely, yeah.
Because you've earned it, Aaron.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. But it's testament to all the administration there and everyone's hard work, and it is home. And the thing is, I'm also a very loyal person. And yeah, like that's who I am. So that's why I could not be happier at NWA.
If you look back on your career and your life, what would you say is the pervading struggle and obstacle that is kind of seemed to pop up?
Getting out of my own way. My wantingness to control everything, in terms of the circumstances and everything like that, as opposed to learning how to let things go and let them happen. And then, if I'm as good as I say I am, like it'll work out. Right. And again, since I've taken that approach, my life has gotten a lot easier.
Seen this in action, if you look at the NWA roster, the Mondos, the Virtuals, yourself. When I visited a while back, we took the picture of the OVW guys, and then there was the Deep South guys.
Yeah.
It was pretty surreal and pretty cool that a place like that exists and is viable. And
yes,
it's a comfort that people like you are, and a credit to Billy that he delegates and trusts the people like yourself who have been through it, who know and who have that vision, So he deserves credit for that for sure. What would you say, Aaron, to anybody out there who's struggling, being in their own way, who feels like the rug's being pulled out from under them, or they're inserting their own will too much? What advice or guidance would you offer them?
Sometimes, or all the time, we can't control what happens to us, especially if it's in the hands of other people. But we can control how we react to it, and we can control what our next move is. And in doing that, in pausing, taking a breath and saying, okay, I am not my circumstances. I've overcome things in the past. I'll overcome things in the future. This is just a small hurdle. And that attitude, again, it served me very well.
Well said, man. Well said. I think you'd be hard pressed to find somebody who's persevered through the trappings and the politics of the business of pro wrestling, quite like you have, and still maintain the whole time, the entire time, some of the strongest moral fabric.
Thank you.
Of anyone, I mean that. Not that we,
And Lord knows I am not without sin. So.
Right. We've had our fun. We've swashbuckled. But you there are guys that let shit slide and guys that don't. And when rubber met the road, you never let shit slide when it mattered. And you're a humble guy too, so I know you don't like talking about it, but
no, thank you.
It's true. It really is, and I consider myself lucky to have shared locker room and company and all that with, because I've learned a tremendous amount from you, Aron. So
that goes two ways to me. Thank you, truly.
Do you have anything you want to plug, or you want to?
No, I mean Instagram. It is the Aron Files, TheAron Files. Twitter, Aron's Thoughts, AronS Thoughts. And no, NWA. Please follow them. Check them out. We're going to be in Philadelphia May 17th for the Crockett Cup. And that is equivalent to the Catalina wine mixer of NWA. Something always goes down at the Crockett Cup. So yeah, we're just looking forward to it.
Is that a 1 day? It's a 1 day event.
1 day event. Yep.
Okay, hey, I may come by and.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. And again, if you're not following NWA on X, right now NWA Power is airing on X. You can go there, check it out, full episodes, and have fun with that.
Yeah, do all that good stuff.
Yeah.
You can find Aron at the NWA, National Wrestling Alliance. We'll throw up all that information as well on the screen. Aron, thank you so much for joining us here on LiMPiN AiNT. And
thanks for having me.
I'll see you in Philly, brother.
Sounds great, bro. Thank you. Like, I just remember again, like there's kids around the ring, people like sitting on the cars, and then just people everywhere. And I feel like a rock go by my head. I went, oh shit, this ain't good. And I feel another one. I'm like, I'm probably in danger, so better get hit in the ass than the head. So there we go.
What? I'm sorry. If ever there were an example of you may have ended up dead had you not
Who knows?
shown your ass.